Hello and welcome to the November update from the Tau team. You're here with me, Fola. And without further ado, let's get into your Q&A questions for the month. All right, the first question is from Blisters. They've got two questions actually. And they ask, what is the language to be used in the alpha scaling discussions? And the second is, what is Tau language? Is it a controlled natural language?
The language to be used all across is the Tau language, and it is, apparently for the first time, a language that allows both a software specification and representation of everyday knowledge, and by that it is suitable for both defining the network and scaling discussions. The Tau language, as for itself, is not a controlled natural language, but we can build a controlled natural language interface that translates to the Tau language.
Thanks very much, Ahad. And the next question is from Serious Sam, and they ask, when can we see Tau language running? Is there anything that hinders the launch of the Tau mainnet?
Tau language, the design of the Tau language is basically ready. The building blocks for implementation are also basically ready. So it will take about several months. And for Mainnet, we also in parallel started working on the blockchain aspect. And it looks like this year we will have a blockchain controlled by its users by means of the Tau language. That's my rough estimation. Let's hope it will be 2023.
Thanks, Ad. And the next question is from Tim, and they ask, are you planning to make any time schedule for the mainnet launch, i.e. locked tokens unlocking date, perhaps a rough schedule like within 1 year, 3 years, or 20 years? This question has been ignored for so long that I'm totally frustrated and feel cheated by you all. Yeah, so in response to your time schedule, so as I had said in the previous question, we're working on the blocks to build the blockchain. And we have put out information already telling you guys that the Agoras token will be unlocked once we've actually released the Tau platform. So we always answer every single question on every single Q&A. There isn't any question that we've ever missed, so please don't feel ignored. We're also in the Telegram channels, and you can always tag us and we'll answer pretty much immediately. So we definitely don't cheat on here, and we always answer every single question. So the next question is from Sir Andrew. In the white paper in section 3.2.1, production, supply, demand and pricing, what does interesting question mean? Is it based on the number of people asking a similar question, in the sense that having millions of users won't give you millions of opinions? Some might have similar questions where, for example, one solution would answer similar questions. Just like our traditional economic system works, where the law of demand and supply says that the higher the demand, the higher the price. So the more people that ask a similar question, the more valuable the knowledge would be once it's answered. Would you agree that this is what you call an interesting question?
The term interesting question was defined in the review sections of the white paper, and it is simply questions that are marked as interesting, that users explicitly say that those are interesting questions. Whether there is an automatic way to tell whether a question is interesting, in general, a full answer, no, but there can be approximations like you mentioned.
All right, thanks, Ahad. And the next question from Sir Andrew is, the second factor for knowledge to be valuable is the hardness of answering the question. What does hardness mean? Is it based on how high a demand for computational resources to be used in order to answer the question?
Yes, it is harder in terms of computational complexity, which doesn't necessarily reflect the human concept of hard question.
And to follow up, they've asked, in summary, knowledge will be priced by either one, the number of people needing the knowledge, and or how computationally difficult for the machines to process the question to arrive on an answer. Would you agree or disagree with this, or is there something missing?
Specifically for pricing the knowledge, it's up to the user. So if you have a piece of knowledge to sell, you decide in how much to sell it, and the buyer will decide whether they are willing to pay this amount or not.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Ad. And the next question is from Jefferson, and they ask, could we expect alpha scaling discussion and computational resources market to be launched next year?
For initial scaling discussions, yes, it seems so. And for computational resources, I don't know, because we are now focused on finishing the Tau language and putting it on a blockchain.
And the next question again is from Sir Andrew, and they ask, could you help us walk through the process or milestones of the project? Alpha scaling discussion is expected next year, right? Is it correct to say alpha where everyone discusses using controlled natural languages or the Tau language and reaches consensus. And the next is the beta stage, where these consensus and opinion maps would then be translated into code. Then the third stage is Tau, where it would automatically update itself from the repository code to the next version of Tau. Blockchain Genesis would start when Tau is ready. Is it correct or not, or am I missing something? Thank you for your guidance.
Now that we have the Tau language, those 3 steps become into one. So it is at the same time for everyday discussions and sort of specification and for self-fermenting.
All right. And the next question is from Red. And they ask, with Tau Chain's main premise being a knowledge market, herein a market being where value gets traded, how are we looking on becoming ISO 222 compliant? Is this something which has already been worked on in these past years? And if so, how far are we?
No, we never looked into it, but interesting pointer. Maybe we should.
And the next question is from Red, and they ask, how far are we on the development of the Tau Chain blockchain? And is there an ETA on the launch of it? Well, Ahad has already answered that question in a previous answer, so you can always listen back to the Q&A. And the next question is from Sir Andrew, and they ask, what does formal knowledge out of large-scale discussion bring to the table that people will pay for it?
It brings the ability for the computer to help us to organize the knowledge, to answer questions, and so on.
The next one is from Sir Belford. How can Tau tell us the consequences of our decisions so that we can rethink our choices if we really want to take those decisions?
It is all about contradictions. So if you say, I want to take this decision, and you also say that you want certain outcome, and this decision will give the opposite of the desired outcome, then the system will detect the contradiction and tell you.
And the last question is from Mr. Bugatti, and they ask, can Tau be useful in safety critical systems? I see this because code can be verified correct and without bugs. Also, with the feature of a priori, knowing what the code should do even before running it, I guess antivirus would not be needed anymore in Tau since there are no bugs in the code. Is that correct?
Well, it is true that it is very useful in critical systems, specifically for antivirus. You will need the virus itself to be written in the Tau language. And why would someone do this if they don't want their virus to be discovered? For something to be able to reason over using the Tau technology, it has to be written in the Tau language. If it is arbitrary code, then you don't have this possibility.
Thank you very much, Ahad. All right. Thank you so much, guys. We appreciate all your questions. And please keep sending them in, and we'll answer every single one every single time. So we'll see you in Telegram. Cheers.